Artie, we're going to do redevelopment next?
Whatever you would like.
No, I'm saying we're going to do redevelopment next.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome to the March 29th, 2011 meeting of the Glendale Redevelopment Agency. Can we have a roll call, please?
Agency members: Draymond. Here. Jarian.
Here.
Montero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chair Friedman.
Here. Can we hear your report, please?
The agenda for the March 29, 2011 regular meeting of the Glendale Redevelopment Agency was posted on Thursday, March 24, 2011 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. What's next?
Next is, since there are no minutes for approval, it's oral communications. No cards were submitted.
No, I have one.
There was one card submitted, I believe.
Yes, I have one card. Ara Kurchian. Porkchin. You think I would know that since I've spoken to him many times. Sorry about that, Ara.
Pleasure to be here before all of you today. Madam Chair, Mr. Mayor, respective council members, and city staff members, my name is Ara Kurkcan, and I would like to state what a true pleasure it is not only to reside, but also to establish my business here in Glendale, a city we love and are proud to call it our headquarters since 1995. I would like to take this opportunity to share with you some of my experiences on the recent relocation of our business and completion of our industrial rehab project. During the early planning stages of the project, our intention was to market the additional space, which we did not intend to utilize, to entertainment-related businesses. As promised to staff previously, I am pleased to announce that after working with Ken Hitz of Staff Agency, we have delivered on our promise. As of March 1st, Kinetic Lighting has moved from Sun Valley to Glendale. I would like now to expand more specifically about our experiences in moving to our new location. More particularly, since people are wondering what is redevelopment agency does or question its importance to cities. As you know, dealing with contractors and different aspects of construction, along with various city agencies, can be very stressful. During these stressful times, I had the honor and privilege to have support and cooperation of city staff. Although we had our high points and low points and difference of opinion at times, we shared a common goal. On behalf of our family and myself, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your vote of confidence when the matter was before you. Specifically, Chairperson Friedman, for calling a special emergency meeting when needed, Fire Chief Harold Scoggins, Fire Marshal Chief Halpert, Director Hassan Hagani, Jay Platt, Vida Zimmertitis, Jan Edwards, along with permit services staff, and to our veteran city inspectors, Mike Cook and Patrick Doherty, in protecting our interests. I understand Mike Cook has already set a retirement date. Although I have been a frequent visitor of Room 101 since 1987, I have never had the experience of pleasure working with Phil Lance of fame and his wonderful, friendly staff at Room 201. During my dealings with the city staff, I came across two helpful individuals, and I would like to take a time out to share their stories with you. One of which was GWP employee Kevin Weekly. It was a hot summer afternoon when the contractor for my fire sprinkler wanted to drain the existing fire sprinkler lines in order to install a new backflow preventer. Apparently, there was an old preventer valve on the city side which was leaking, and he was unable to drain the line to allow the wet soil to dry, so he could install the backflow a few days later. My contractor contacted GWP to stop the leak. Needless to say, after several trips to the yard, this young man was able to bring a device which stopped the hole and stopped the leak. He made sure the contractor for the fire sprinkler did not leave and start his weekend without resolving a water leak. The reason I'm sharing this story with you is because this young man cared and took pride in the work he did. He went above and beyond what his job called for. I wish every public employee had the same amount of care and concern as he does in regard to customer service and the community they serve. The second individual is the agency's own Alan Castillo. We had our fair share of disagreements. He was vital in assisting us in handling several issues that came up with various city agencies. He is an individual that listens well, analyzes situations appropriately, and comes up with solutions and additional options for the issues at hand. It was a true privilege to get to know and work with Alan. We are in no position to give recognitions or awards, but I would like to present Glendale Redevelopment Agency with an engraved card as a gesture of our appreciation, so that all employees and the community members also view and recognize the hard-working staff. Alan, since you have the burden of representing city staff as a project manager, or the new word, I guess, entitlement concierge, would like to present you with a plaque as their representative. Alan, pleasure working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you all, and thanks for all of you, and thanks for City of Glendale.
Thank you very much for coming here today. We don't often have businesses come back after they've been through the process, and it's great to know that we were able to help you and to move your business to Glendale. And I know that you had some bumps along the way, but I think everybody did really go out of their way to try to accommodate you and to help you along. And thank you so much for coming here today and for thanking the staff.
We realize that, and we're people that they care, and we care. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What's next, please?
Next on the business agenda at 6A is Director of Community Development regarding Los Angeles Times Series Downtown Art and Entertainment District events. At 6A1 is motion directing staff to proceed with events.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, agency chair and members of the agency. Today I'm here requesting approval to develop and plan 2 downtown events.
Introduce yourself.
I apologize. Annette Vartanian with the Community Development Department. As part of our greater effort to promote the downtown area and the newly formed Art and Entertainment District to the Los Angeles area, staff has collaborated with the Tribune Media Group, which is the media arm of the Los Angeles Times, to develop 2 downtown events. The objectives of these events are to promote Glendale's businesses, amenities, attractions, and event and entertainment options to the greater Los Angeles area. The aim of the events is to attract Angelenos to come and play in the downtown area and to entice professionals working in the downtown area to stay beyond their workday. Most of these employees leave after 5 o'clock. We want them to stay in our downtown area. So this is going to be an event much like Cruise Night to attract outside visitors to the downtown area and to continue to promote our local businesses. One of the events would be part of the Los Angeles Times and the Food and Wine magazines, The Taste. It's a 4-day event that will take place over Labor Day event with special events in Beverly Hills, downtown Los Angeles, and Hollywood. And we're working to do an event here in Glendale. This would include local food demonstrations and cooking demonstrations and food pairings at our local businesses, but it would be within the downtown area, specifically the Art and Entertainment District along Maryland Avenue. The second event is called the Art of Entertaining. This is an event which is usually held on the west side, and we're working to bring this event to Glendale. And this event is aimed at people who are interested in home decor, event planning, design and decor, and coming up with wine and food pairings when they're planning parties and events. The cost of hosting these events is approximately $60,000, and that includes a promotional campaign through the Los Angeles Times. The media value is over $5 million for these 2 events, and this will include advertising in the Los Angeles Times, Los Angeles Magazine, event microsites, social media, flyers, and the whole spiel. Basically, whatever Los Angeles Times does for these events, we would be included as part of that promotion. Again, these events would attract a demographic that is either not familiar with Glendale as a destination to come and be entertained, or people who just work here and don't stay beyond their workday. We want to bring people here and we want to keep them here. Staff has spoken to the Downtown Glendale Merchants Association. They are in support of bringing 2 events to the downtown area, and we would collaborate with them once we begin planning these events. Again, these are 2 events that are still in concept. We're trying to get everything squared away for the fall if the agency should approve us to move forward. If we're unable to meet promotional deadlines, then we can always have an event in the spring. The Festival of Books is coming up in April, so if we were to miss one of the events in the fall, we could hopefully do some sort of event in Glendale as part of a larger event. That concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions agency may have.
Are there any questions, Mr. Brandon?
Yes. Annette, I have a few questions. As the first time hearing of this was this report. Was this effort something that grew out of the direction from council or council and the agency back when North Star was last making their big presentation to come up with a comprehensive promotion plan for the Art and Entertainment District?
Yes, this is part of the greater marketing branding plan to bring in visitors to the downtown area. So from some of the feedback we've received from North Star, but in an effort to bring in visitors to the downtown area, we had initially made contact with the Los Angeles Times about 2 years ago, and we were actually looking for a firm to do our branding program, and they were very, very persistent to work with us, and so when we got some of this feedback from North Star, I reached out to the Los Angeles Times to see what kind of event we could bring to Glendale that would be consistent with the overall brand and also help our downtown businesses but be consistent with the art and entertainment district.
Okay. Well, I have some concerns, and I don't know, Annette, that you're the one necessarily that can answer this. Maybe Phil might be the one, but I have a concern about this, and I don't mean to surprise people, but I may be the one that has the concern here. I think it's great to reach out and do this kind of a promotion, but I'm not sure that this is really an art and entertainment district promotion. By the fall, I'm wondering what exactly we'll be promoting in the art and entertainment district. If what we know of and what's been proposed and even the things that are still in the talking stages that we have not yet brought on the dais all roll out as planned, I'm not sure what we're going to be promoting with a public event in the fall. We may have some things under construction, not exactly conducive to a taste of Glendale kind of thing. I'm not sure how those construction sites relate to pop art, although maybe they will. The report talks about the GATE program, but that's not in the Art and Entertainment District per se, at least not at this point. And it talks a lot about promoting the restaurants, but those right now are not there. They're out on brand. So if this is a promotion that is primarily directed toward bringing people to the downtown, I'm fine with that, because I think this is a good event and it's a good tie-in. But this is not the direction. This is not what we have been asking for when we were asked to give direction in relation to that presentation of North Star. We were talking about a comprehensive program for the promotion of that district, not just to the public, but also to industry. And this is not that. So I'm all for this if it's a general promotion for the downtown and so on. The last thing that I want to do, as someone who is very interested in how this art and entertainment district unfolds, is promote that we have something in place when we're not ready, and bring media and people to that area when we're not ready. So those are my concerns.
Okay,
and I'm interested in your response. I'm interested in your feedback, but also I'm interested in the answer to the question. And it's similar to one I asked Annette, which is this supposed to be, this is not in place of
no.
the program that we asked to be brought forward, because we still haven't seen that.
Correct.
Okay. So when are we going to see that, Phil?
That I will have to turn back to you now.
Okay, I apologize. I misunderstood your question. Now that you elaborated, I understand. This is not the promotional branding or marketing campaign that North Star has come up with.
That's not what I'm asking.
So we anticipate North Star providing us some sort of direction on how to proceed with branding and promoting the Art and Entertainment District sometime in June. Does that answer your question?
We're getting there, I think.
Okay.
I may. Actually, if I may, this is Hassan Hagani. I'm taking over the mic because over the last month or so, I've been working personally with the economic development team, and what you're asking about is part of the larger comprehensive planning that we have. We're doing comprehensive programming. We're doing for the economic development program. I don't think we're prepared to answer that question right now, but I must tell you that that is an aspect, and we intend to, within a month or two, to give you a comprehensive presentation of some ideas we have and get feedback from you. And if the ideas are okay, after your feedback, we will then proceed with coming up with more immediately after that.
All right. And Mr. Hagani, so with regard to this event and tying to this event and all of these things that are in the report that relate to the Art and Entertainment District, but I think are actually more related to Brand Boulevard.
They are. They're really about Glendale.
Yes. So what is the connection to Art and Entertainment District with this?
I think the only connection is that your staff has been very excited about art and entertainment, and in the buzz of art and entertainment, they have talked about this. These are two different buzzes. They're both about Glendale, and this is really not necessarily marketing the Arts and Entertainment District. It is about marketing downtown Glendale and having downtown Glendale be part of the general discussion in this subregion. Okay.
And that's really what I was getting at, and I just didn't see the nexus, the strong nexus there, and I want to make sure that this wasn't, that the $60,000 that we're going to spend is not about...
This is not that.
Our city's effort with regard to Art and Entertainment District. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Weaver.
Well, the same thing. This isn't the first time that I've got stuff on Friday about what's coming on Tuesday. And I'm starting to see more of that. I don't know what's coming, and then I get hit with something like this, which concerns me. I don't know, has there been any community outreach, anything? You're going into a planning stage. I personally think staff should have been talking to us individually that we're back there to find out what we think, rather than getting us out here and then we're supposed to give you okay to start down a road to spend $60,000. This is it's going to take labor, it's going to take staff time. Why go there if we don't like it? I'm just seeing this now. So I don't know how it fits in. I would hope that the public weighs in on this. You talk about keeping the people in Glendale, whatever. I believe in Glendale first. For 200,000 population, we ought to be trying to keep our people in Glendale from going to Pasadena or to Burbank or whatever. But the emphasis seems to be here to keep the people coming to work here in here. And I think that's the wrong emphasis. If people want to stay here after we've done something that the public wants, fine. But we haven't talked to the public. I mean, what are they going to say to these events? We have cruise night. We know that works. We do other things. The Montrose Christmas Parade. It works. We know certain things, but something like this, how do you know you're going to have that kind of attendance? Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But I can't sit here in all good consciousness and say, yes, go ahead. Because I don't buy it. Not yet. You want to have study sessions with me and you want to go out and talk to different organizations, and I don't mean the chamber. I'm talking, go talk to the homeowner associations, homeowners, the people that should be coming down here. Talk to them, see what they like. Maybe they will like it. Maybe they'll love it. What if it's lukewarm? Why go that direction then if they don't? So that's my opinion. Thank you.
Najarian.
A couple questions. The events, two events we're talking about, are they going to be held in the exchange? Can I say that word exchange anymore, or is that out? Have we shifted?
That was so last week. That's so last week, Mr. Mayor.
Does that mean the same thing as the district? Is the district another block longer?
They exchanged the district. I know what it means. I think the general public does too. We were looking at Maryland. We haven't confirmed the exact location. If the agency directs us to make it a a downtown event, we can hold it on brand where we hold some of our other events.
So it could be
Yes.
brand. And then with regard to the vendors, are we we being the city or the agency responsible for going out and drumming up all these exhibitors, vendors, food trucks, or whatever we're going to do?
The Los Angeles Times, by partnering with them, they would be responsible for a lot of that. Staff would help outreach to local businesses, so if they want to participate, we would be that point of contact for our local businesses. Los Angeles Times would be responsible if any outside vendors want to come. Staff would help through the permitting process and some of the city operational items, but LA Times would handle a lot of the ticket sales. I think some of the more difficult responsibilities in terms of promoting they would handle.
So both of these are ticket by way of tickets?
Yes, yes.
And so it'll be really a promotion between the LA Times and the different cities that host each of these events over that weekend.
That's correct.
Is that how it goes? Does that include the Glendale News Press? Does Glendale News Press get promoted too? Or?
Glendale News Press is part of Los Angeles Times, same family, so they would be included, I would hope. Or not.
Okay.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, you're smiling, I'm smiling back.
Because we've had discussion about are they one and the same? Are they independent? I mean, each they're described different ways, and okay. And that date is a certain date then. So that's would be the Monday for the first event, the Monday evening of Labor Day Monday.
That's what we're hoping for. Just to reiterate, this is just a concept. That's why I brought up if we can't meet the deadline is because it's just kind of this big picture that we're thinking of. We would hope to have this event for the Monday, for the finale of the 4-day, for the taste event. The Art of Entertaining is still not a confirmed date. They usually hold it in October or November. That's what we would try and do, or we could extend it into the spring.
Okay, let's get them to do as much of the hard work as possible, because I know it's quite thinking back to Cruise Night or even Unity Fest and all these other things, it's quite a production to organize, locate, deal with the permits and health department inspections and all that. So I know your workload is fully...
Well, I don't know if you followed the previous year's events. If you are followers of KCRW and KCPC, they actually advertise quite a bit. The outreach is far-reaching, and we know that at least the city, a giant city to our east, has been lobbying to be part of this, but the LA Times prefers to come to Glendale than there, and I won't advertise that city by mentioning their name. So we are hoping to be part of the buzz that goes into the media that really goes across the region. And so and this is really the presentation of it. If you have any reservations and you have any further questions, we will be happy to come back with more answers for you and have more discussion about this.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to be very clear. I support this. I support this. And I support it because it's a good program. But I just want to make sure that when we get to this point, that because we've tied it to the name of the Art and Entertainment District, which I guess is a rose by any other name or a thorn by any other name, depending on how you feel about it, but it's from, it's Maryland, basically from Wilson down to the library. But the bottom line is, I just want to make sure that when all of these people who buy tickets show up here, that we're not pointing to one pile of rocks and saying that's our pass-through, and another pile of rocks, that's going to be Broadway Lofts, another pile of rocks, that's Mono, and that pile of rocks up there might be the Laemmle Theater Complex, and say and this is our Art and Entertainment District. So I want to make sure that the timing is right. We have something. I want us to put our best foot forward.
That's right.
And I want to make sure we have a foot
to put forward.
And
it's got the nice right shoe on. So,
but for the downtown, in general, we have a lot to show for ourselves, and so that's why I support this. I just was confused about why we're tying it in this report to the Art and Entertainment District, and I wanted to make sure that this wasn't a substitute for the comprehensive program that we had talked about in terms of outreach through our North Star program. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, well, I support this as well. I think it's a relatively inexpensive amount of money for what sounds like a huge amount of publicity, and possibly bringing people to Glendale who haven't been here in a while or ever before. So I'm certainly willing to give it a try. We'll see how it goes. So,
I will move 6A1.
Second.
okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Agency members Draymond.
Yes.
Najarian.
Yes.
Quintero.
Yes.
Weaver.
No.
Chair Friedman.
Yes. Thank you. What's next, please?
He is Director of Community Development regarding bid results for the Alex Theater front facade restoration project in connection with spec number R-41. B1 is motion accepting the lowest responsible bid from Randall McAnany in the amount of $162,995 and rejecting all other bids.
Okay, before we go to a staff report, does anybody need to hear the staff report?
No.
Would you like to make a motion?
Yes. I'll move 5B1.
Second.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Agency members Draymond.
Yes.
Najarian.
Yes.
Quintero.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Chair Friedman.
Yes. What's next, please?
He is Director of Community
Thank you, Barry.
Development regarding business assistance programs and a marketing strategy to promote the creative corridor. C1 is agency motion approving business assistance programs and pursuing a marketing strategy to promote a creative corridor.
861.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Well, I'm being just somewhat facetious. I appreciate the alacrity in which the last motion went forward.
You have
I
somewhere to
don't
go,
really
Mr.
need one.
Najarian.
No, I don't really need one, but
Well, for the public,
maybe a brief.
maybe we can just.
I do. I have.
Okay, we do need one, and I will let my colleagues know that the PowerPoint that's in your staff report is not the PowerPoint you're going to be seeing. It's a much shorter presentation. So maybe that makes everyone feel a little
That's
better.
nice, yes.
Okay, Mr.
Okay,
Lansing.
that's it.
I'm not sure how much more I can add to Mr. Kirchin earlier. He really did talk about a lot of the things in our program. Marty, if you could bring up our presentation. It turns out the business, I'm not sure you're aware, the business that he attracted to his building is Kinetic Lighting and a creative corridor industry that we're trying to attract. So we put together a presentation for you just to tell you what we've been doing since the last time you gave us some direction. And with that, if we can go to the next slide, Artie. You asked us to develop a strategy for assisting and attracting creative business, creative industry that might supplement and complement, but be different from those efforts in our downtown. We have concluded some research. We have, and you'll see, one of the benefits in Glendale is to not have a business license fee or gross tax. That does make it a little more difficult for us to do some research. So we've had 2 sets of interns actually going through the district and picking out businesses and visiting every property. We'll talk about some of the economic development assistance that you heard of. To date, we've received some feedback from our task force in the creative corridor, and we'll tell you what that's made up of. But what our research told us is that there definitely is a critical mass, and this already is a creative corridor, and we can strengthen that by filling some of the vacancies with more creative industry. This is a quick look at the creative corridor and the types of businesses. About 34% fall into that category of creative industry. We like them because they're clean, they're attractive uses, they have long-term growth potential, high-paying jobs. They are throughout the entire corridor. We do see a concentration in the north end, but they are represented all throughout the corridor. And of course, some of our better-known names, Disney, DreamWorks, KBC7 is here, Technicolor, and we've added some others. Next slide. To date, we've assisted about 40 businesses. This is in the last year or so. 40 businesses, 22 of those being from the creative industry. Everything from project management and entitlement concierge is the term that we're using, to tours and promotion. The San Fernando Business Journal took a 3-hour tour through our corridor and will begin talking about it in their newspaper. One thing I do want to point out, since Don Nakamoto is not here, we have used our partnership with the Verdugo Job Center, the Workforce Investment Board, to provide manufacturing assistance through one of our partners. Next slide. Too small of a reading for anybody, certainly at home, probably the audience. But we have helped some companies, assisted them. Names you'll recognize: Technicolor, Kinetic Lighting, Yamaha Guitars, and then landlords with their property. Mr. Kirkjian was a perfect example. Next slide. We've established a task force, a creative corridor task force. We've tried to solicit input from a wide variety of people that would have interest, from property owners to brokers and business owners of all types of creative industry. And then the planning staff and the economic development staff, which when we started this was in two different departments. We're now in one and better suited to deal with these types of policy issues. Next, please. I think momentum is probably the biggest thing to take away from this. We have started this, and it's almost a soft, what we call a soft opening, a soft rollout. We haven't had a lot of marketing, but in making some specific contacts, we've really seen the benefit of reaching out in our community with the task force, and then helping businesses move here, business owners and property owners make their properties ready for it. You see the news media coverage that we have here. We're in different places. North Star, when they were doing their interviews, heard about the corridor from people in the community. Landlords have been looking specifically, again, I point to the person that was here today, looking specifically to fill their vacancies with creative companies. Next slide, please. This was kind of a nice validation of our efforts. The news press ran an editorial, The City's Economic Bright Spot, in talking about the creative corridor and the benefits that we will see when this program is in full bloom. These are 4 businesses that we've helped relocate to the area. Rough Draft moved from Brand Boulevard, wanted to stay in Glendale, and moved into the creative corridor. Slide. This is really the heart of the item for you today. We have put together an incentive package that we would like to be able to go out and promote from this day forward. The top 3 items: no business receipts tax, flexible zoning, and the GWP incentives. Those are programs that currently exist. We have the zoning in place, and this is really important for creative industry. The zoning's in place. It's very flexible. It is probably one of the few areas in Southern California where you could live on site, manufacture your product, and sell it all in the same from the same property. The items below: fire pre-inspection, plan check priority, matching grants, entitlement concierge, and then other incentives that I'll get to. Those are new programs that we would like for your approval on. Fire pre-inspection is one of the key things that we heard from the task force. Somebody comes in, they like a building, they're ready to sign a lease. They may have even signed a lease, they get into plan check, and oh, you've got to sprinkler the building. That becomes a big issue. It's a cost that nobody expected. If we get out in front of it with fire, and we've started to coordinate that, they've already been on a few visits, they can say, you're going to need sprinklers for this type of use, so figure that in. Jumping down to the matching grants, we currently have a facade program that provides up to $40,000 for the exterior. We would like for your approval to expand that program for systems on the inside of the building, namely fire sprinklers. That is an expense that nobody really anticipates, and there are times when creative companies really don't care what the front of their building looks like. In fact, the more vague it can be, the better for them. So we think that this is a good use that would help creative industries if we were to expand that program for inside improvements. Of course, the entitlement concierge service we already do. But Artie, if you go to the next, we'd also like to look at a special incentive program. It would be up to $250,000, but there's special criteria. This really has to be a shaker and a mover, somebody that is going to be a game changer. We want them to be known throughout their industry and have the potential to then bring other business to the corridor because they want to be in close proximity. We want them to locate in a chronically vacant or underutilized property. We really do want them to bring jobs at the journey level or above and not just a service job. And then upgrade to the highest levels of efficiency for sustainability, and then demonstrate that they have a 5-year growth period. If they could meet that criteria, present something to us, and we would bring it back to the redevelopment agency. Would not be an automatic. We would ask for you to weigh in on that, and then give us your approval. So that would be the criteria. The next, if you approve this package for us today, we would then like to develop a promotion for it and go out and start marketing it. We'll define and further publicize what this whole concept is. We've got a target market to recruit and then some other points. These would be the objectives of a marketing program. If I get the next slide. Again, I apologize for the size of the font, but we would outline here, this is who we want to reach, those people that really want to be closer to other creative business. We have DreamWorks, we have Disney, we should leverage that for people to come in, service companies that work with them, businesses that want to lower costs, businesses that want to be closer to their company if they may live here close by. What we want them to know is the opportunity to locate with those other creative businesses, the low cost and other benefits of locating in Glendale, and then see Glendale as a progressive city to reach out and want to attract those creative companies. We want them to investigate all the advantages of doing business here, and we will help them, meet with them and provide all of those. Our communications should be catered to that industry. They don't necessarily look at the same promotional avenues as retail or office. So we really want to cater something to that particular industry. In starting to put some of these elements together and a cost to some of these, just to give you an idea of the magnitude of cost, maybe up to $260,000 to do this. We would leverage some of this activity with other efforts going on in the city, citywide marketing, whether it be the arts and entertainment district, our neighborhood business districts or something. There are some things that we can share those costs, but this would be the cost we could identify, again, an estimate. Today we're asking for your approval on that package. If you agree to that, we'll then go back and develop a marketing proposal for you with specific numbers. That's our report. Staff is here if you have any questions.
Thank you for presentation. Mr. Quintero.
Very happy we're moving forward with the concept, and Ms. Friedman has assured me that we're not discussing the billboards yet, because I was absolutely going to question the concept. I think we have to do some really sharp targeting in terms of industry groups and using social media, et cetera. I mean, what we're looking for here are companies that aren't going to be persuaded by a billboard on a freeway. So anyway, that'll come later, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of input. But overall, I think it's a great package, and I'm looking forward to the implementation. The sooner the better.
Thank you. Other comments or questions, Mr. Weaver?
Well, we went through the rezoning effort down there. We've done landscaping down there. We've done roadway improvement. So the next thing is the marketing to bring the people into an area that in my lifetime hadn't been touched down there for 60-some years. So we've moved that way along. And this idea about you come into the city and you can move right along on getting your project reviewed. I was talking about that before any of my colleagues were on the council, which namely is whether you're doing a little room addition in your house or you're putting in a high-rise building, you should be able to follow it on a track through the entire city process. We're not there yet. Hopefully with technology we're getting there, which will make it much easier for any potential developer to know what's going on and not get trapped like finding out about sprinkler systems they have to put in. That can still happen. Other thing, you're right on nondescript buildings. Disney is right at the forefront of letting you know they don't want you to know that they're there. Only thing I would do in that case, if you're doing the nondescript, is maybe enhancing the requirements for landscaping, printing on San Fernando, whatever, heavier, maybe additional setback to get it. But just to have a little planting and then a wall going up with a little sign in the corner that says Disney ears or something, I think we should look at more of it to dress off the eastern side of us, particularly. So other than that, yeah, we're heading in the right direction, and with the economy turning around, I think we ought to have a lot of effort to get some in and then others see it and they want to come in. And Disney and DreamWorks have really started it. It's going to pay off in the next decade or two. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Najarian.
Thank you. One of the businesses that you mentioned up there was ARTN. And ARTN is a Armenian language, Russian language, English language television studio. They broadcast worldwide. They had the hardest time getting the approval and the occupancy for their expansion to a live studio audience studio, I guess. Has that all been resolved? And the follow-up is, I don't know about this entitlement concierge and all that, but the owners shouldn't feel that they have to call a councilman or an agency member to follow this through every step of the way. There should be someone on staff that, whether it's hand-holding, whether it's psychoanalysis, whether it's a life coach, whatever they need to do to calm the apprehensions of a business owner. Every business is different, every project is different, but someone to do all those things so they don't call a councilman in a fit of frustration saying, look what they did to me this week. We had this, they gave us that. They wanted it here, we put it there. So I'm hoping that, number one, that we're done with them and that they are expanding, and that looking forward in the future, we have someone on staff to fit that need to help shepherd these projects along.
I'll go to Mr. Starbird first, since he's the boss.
Just an editorial comment on that one particular case. The staff mentioned having people come in advance and do some pre-plan check. A lot of those issues that the individual raised with you would have been addressed had they done any work with the staff before they began their project. As a result, there was a lot of catch-up that was being done to solve code issues that, frankly, hadn't been permitted and hadn't been addressed and could have been much easier addressed had they contacted the staff before they ever began to expand their project. There could very well be some things that we can't overcome. Changing uses on properties where you have public assembly occupancies, for example, in buildings that, frankly, just from a fire code and a safety code won't permit it. Those are pretty big obstacles to try and get over. So in some cases, we can't perform miracles. In other cases, if the businesses will come in and meet with the staff ahead of doing the work, then many times we can head off those issues and point them in the right direction. I think that's what the staff is encouraging here in particular.
And then just to answer the second question, once we do have a contact, typically whatever manager is working on that, they stay with them forever. Alan was here. If Mr. Kirchian had an issue, he would call Alan, and we would tell them, this is your contact for as long as they work there. So we do stay with the properties as best we can.
Second question or point is, I think it's important that one of the major drawbacks to that corridor is the incessant freight train, passenger train traffic and the accompanying blasts of their horn. I think we need to focus on upgrading all those crossings and creating a quiet zone so that they can you won't It's not, a freight train isn't going to sneak by you, but you won't have to hear those loud horns that may actually be a deterrent to some of the other types of creative businesses that would otherwise be locating if not for a loud blast of the horn. So I know that Mr. Starbird, city management staff, is working on that, but I wanted you to know that that's something that we can also try and work together on.
And if you'll give me, if you'll indulge me, I'll be able to toot our own horn, so to speak. Grandview and Sonora are currently in design and shortly under construction to upgrade. We will need the crossings at Doran and Brazil to get that quiet zone, but it's certainly something that not only the public works staff, but the economic development staff is working in concert to achieve.
Okay. My last point, I hate to end it on a note of pessimism, because I'm usually such an optimistic person. But I think at this stage of the game, we should be planning which lifeboats we're going to be getting into when the SS Titanic / redevelopment agencies get hit by the iceberg and go down. I fully agree with your plan, but I'm concerned that should an action be taken, we're literally holding our breaths. Did they vote today? Oh, not today, tomorrow. The Senate's going to do it. The Assembly's going to do it. It may be one day we wake up or we, go to the water cooler and turn around and come back and we learn that redevelopment agencies are kaput. So let's have a succession plan in the event, maybe not a likely event, but certainly a possible event that the plug just gets pulled on all these agencies, especially ours, and what other city agencies. Is it all going to fall under the community development? Are we going to parcel it out? Let's have like I said, let's find out which lifeboats we're going to be putting in the women and children and get ready to move forward in the event that we hit that iceberg.
Will do. We're taking the approach that we're going to continue with business until they tell us to stop. However, things like this program is almost a pay-as-you-go. So if tomorrow we had to stop, we wouldn't be responsible for anything in the future. Some of the other projects that we're working on, we'll talk about those when they come up. We are plugging in that what if and protecting ourselves from any liability or expectation.
We're still going to have the creative corridor.
Yes, we are.
Regardless of what the governor did, they can't take that from us. But so we need to be able to adjust and
Not yet.
and move forward with some of these great ideas. Thank you.
Mr. Draymond.
Yes, you're right. They can't take our creativity from us. They can empty our pockets, and our wallets, and our coffers, but they can't take our creativity. Well, some of the issues have been addressed. The things that just popped right out, like not just billboards, but rotating billboards. And if you've been around the city of Glendale for any time at all, and you start thinking about San Fernando Road and billboards, and you immediately start thinking of full council chambers and people with pitchforks and torches and so on. So that came to mind, but that's been addressed, and I think the assurances we're going to look at that carefully and take that very slowly and work with our limit the areas and work with our stakeholders. Let's see. So that there isn't any confusion, the funds that we're spending for North Star, for that comprehensive program for branding and so on, that is not, these funds, it's a little over $500,000. These funds are not a piece of that. They are...
That is correct.
You didn't have to come all the way over here for those 2 words. That's correct. Okay. All right. So, but I just wanted to get that on the record because I've been asked by a few people that have been looking at this. And then I think the case has been made both by staff and by my colleagues as to why this is a beneficial use of funds. And put it very succinctly, it is an investment in arts industry, the technical arts, if you will. But those are the kinds of funds we haven't spent in that area of town ever. So yes, landscaping, yes, we've done that. We've done some other things, but we haven't invested in the economics of the San Fernando corridor. So this is it's high time. The rest of what I want to have to say, I do have one more question. We are now bandying this phrase around entitlement concierge. So would somebody like to address, did I hear in here, or did I not quite get that right, that we are hope to use some grant funds to provide an individual who is going to walk people through?
Really, it's entitlement concierge is a nice, fancy name for project manager. But we have found it very beneficial. When we first started it, outside the redevelopment project areas, was with the auto dealers. Give them a single point of contact to then navigate the city bureaucracy.
I guess what I'm getting at is this someone new we're adding, or is this someone within our current staff?
They would be the current staff.
Okay. All right.
To be more specific, with the merging of the community...
You all should just come right up there.
Because Phil and I have actually been working on this very closely
Right.
together with the merging of the two old departments under the Community Development Department. We're gathering the most talented staff who understand all of the different processes and creating a team of core staff members who will be part of this concierge. So it won't be one individual, it'll be a number of individuals who will be trained to basically do the hand-holding and carrying the individuals through the entire process, and basically getting the other departments involved ahead of time so that there won't be any unforeseen problems down the road. That is what we're offering.
So the answer, to put it in a nutshell, is no.
No, it's not a new position.
It's not a new position, and so we're not going to be accused of funding a new position and all of that.
Right.
Okay. Very good. Well, the balance of what I want to say actually ends where I started speaking on this, and that's about they can't take our creativity. I want to commend our chair, Laura Friedman, who I had the opportunity to meet when she was running for office. And this was part of her platform and program when she was running for office in 2009. Actually, it was part of the platform when she was running for office in 2008 in getting ready for 2009. And it was a great idea then. It's a great idea now. It's rare when someone is able to take a project in this city or a concept in this city from square one at a grassroots level out on a campaign trail stumping about it, and then has the opportunity to bring it to fruition here on the dais. That doesn't happen that often, and I have to give you some real props for that. That is terrific. I think it's a great vision, and I know that everywhere I go, and have been for the last couple of years, I meet with nothing but positive comments and praise for this and for your leadership on this, and I know this has figured prominently into your stewardship as chair of the agency, and you may be the very last chair of this agency. So it is fitting that you will get the last word on this as well. So I just wanted to compliment you on that. This is going to benefit our city for many years. Many, many, many years, long after we're not here. Oh, and Mr. Weaver, you said long before we were on the council. I think it was before I was born.
Isaaker?
Yes. Guilty. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Well, thank you, Mr. Draymond. I really appreciate that acknowledgement. I guess I want to thank my colleagues, because we wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for their support for this project since almost day one. And they certainly had questions and they had concerns, but they were able to shape this in a direction that I think was very positive. and staff has been wonderful. And I also want to thank the task force, who were a group of stakeholders from the area who met several times for hours to go over what they really thought would help their individual businesses, businesses like theirs, properties like theirs, tenants like theirs, etc. And they came up with a lot of very surprising input that I don't think that the city had heard before. Things like the big issue with sprinklers with these old industrial buildings, that they had a lot of other issues that maybe weren't the same issues as merchants that are in other parts of the city. So tailoring an incentive program that targets those particular types of properties and those particular types of businesses, I think will really help a lot at providing to those businesses and those property owners what they really need from the city to grow their businesses, retain businesses, and attract new businesses, which is what redevelopment is really all about. In an area that has really been challenged with the loss of manufacturing jobs and manufacturing businesses over the years. And this is a way that the city can be proactive, can reach out and help rejuvenate that area, and also to look ahead to what's going to happen as manufacturing starts to leave. And creative industries are probably the largest industry that's in Los Angeles, and it's a healthy group of industries. And we already have, as you said, some big anchors with Disney, DreamWorks, and KABC. So this is a way to really leverage those existing businesses and to continue to grow the area. And I'm very excited to see these incentives be put in place. The incentives that we already have, that we've had in the last year, have really borne a lot of fruit, and I think that this will do a lot, and especially as we start to market this out there to the community, because right now, they're coming to us because they're starting to hear it through the grapevine. But when we start reaching out more to them, I think we'll really see a change in that area, all for the better. So with that, I will entertain a motion.
I will move the item.
Second?
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Agency members Draymond,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Quintero,
Yes.
Weaver,
Aye.
Chair Friedman.
Yes. Thank you. What's next, please?
Agency member or staff comments?
Seeing none? A motion. Oh, do we have anything else before adjournment?
Is there any new business? If there isn't,
To adjourn.
second?
We are
Second.
adjourned.
Wait.